I of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you and good evening. Welcome to the November 4th Becker School Board regular meeting. We're going to start off with a presentation on priority standards by Mr. Boyer.
Is this on? There we go. All right. Thank you, board, for having me here tonight. Here to talk about priority standards. And at the Becker Intermediate School, we're working on priority standards under the direction of Director Nolan with our curriculum and instruction. And we are in the infancy stages this year at the intermediate and the primary school. But what priority standards are is they're essential for Minnesota public schools as they provide a focused framework for teaching core skills and knowledge, and they ensure depth over breadth, basically. Priority standards, as you can see, the most critical skills and knowledge that all students must acquire. These standards ensure a focused, coherent approach to curriculum and assessment, which will maximize the impact on student learning. The rationale for using priority standards, the benefits are for students. It promotes mastery of essential skills and knowledge and provides a clear future for academic support and intervention. Benefits for educators, allows for targeted lesson planning and assessment, and supports collaborative discussions on instructional strategies. It works with the learning skills of critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, and communication, which we all know are important in school and beyond. The guiding resource, leading standards-based learning. Strategies for effective implementation of priority standards are listed in here. There's an emphasis on formative assessment and data-driven instruction. And it's a collaborative professional learning focused on continuous improvement. As it says there in the quote, without data, all we have is an opinion. And we all can come up with our own opinions, but the data spells it out for us. By identifying our priority standards, there's a selection process. We have our teaching teams who will evaluate and select standards considering relevance, alignment, and impact. There's the REAL criteria, which stands for readiness, endurance, assessment, and leverage. Readiness talks about the essential skills needed for advancement to the next grade level. Endurance, skills that are valuable beyond a single test or a grade level. So not just a one-off on there. Assessment, student opportunity to learn content that will be assessed. And leverage, skills that are applicable across multiple disciplines. There's also stakeholder involvement. Collaboration with teachers, instructional leaders, and district support are all valuable with this process. Because as we know, in order to reach the whole child, we all have to work together. Implementation in the classroom, integrating priority standards. Teachers will align units and lessons with priority standards. They'll use differentiated instruction for varied learning needs and regular formative assessments to check for mastery. And with instructional support, you'll use technology and hands-on activities, reinforcing priority standards. Professional development collaboration. You have professional learning communities, which we have every Wednesday. In there, we have ongoing collaborative discussions around effective teaching strategies and sharing data insights and best practices. And training alignment. That's where we have focused professional development sessions, and we'll put an emphasis on refining teaching and adapting to student data. Into this, for monitoring, assessing progress, this is future planning that we'll be doing using data-driven instruction. We will use formative and summative assessments to track mastery. We'll adjust instructional strategies based on student needs. And then we'll have progress reporting, which will communicate student growth and proficiency and priority standards to our stakeholders. So when we see our test scores, this will be where it comes from, because all of our priority standards will, although they don't teach to the test, they will affect the test. Future successes and feedback. Impact highlights, we're going to look for improved student performance, and it'll provide engagement examples. And right now, as we have for the past 2 years, we continue on this year with student engagement, because we know in order to do our best learning, we need to have the students engaged. And that means the teachers are engaged as well. Provide teacher feedback, on focused curriculum and clear learning targets. And overcoming challenges. That's anticipating that there's going to be challenges like there is with anything, and that staff will work together and reach out for solutions. Continued steps in sustainability that we're looking at is future implementation goals. Extend priority standards framework to ensure not only vertical alignments across all grades, but also horizontal alignments. For going from one grade to the next, or one subject to the next, we have alignment. Provide continual professional development on data analysis and instructional strategies. And our long-term vision, establish a culture focused on standards-based learning, and regularly revisit and refine priority standards as needs evolve. So not just, we're going to make them this year and hold on for the next 20. We'll make them as we go and continue to evolve as we move on. Before I end, some of the things I did not put in the presentation, but I did add. They promote equity and consistency by guaranteeing that all students, regardless of school or teacher, receive the same foundational learning. And additionally, priority standards streamline resource allocation, support that data-driven instruction, and enhance preparation for state assessments. And finally, this targeted approach enables better differentiation, as I said before, in intervention, which contributes to students' long-term academic success and readiness for college and careers. Now, as I said, we're in the infancy stages this year at the primary and the intermediate school, and I'll speak mainly about the intermediate school because we're very heavy in letters training this year. But this is what we're introducing and what we're working towards and setting the groundwork for this, starting the foundation. And it's something that we will continue to do as we get direction, as I give direction, as I receive direction, and move forward to make Becker Intermediate and Becker Public Schools even better. Thank you.
So it's just me tonight, but for the past month, most of our sports are kind of wrapping up, so that's going to be the longest one, and then our next meeting will start on the winter ones. So in the past month, volleyball wrapped up the first year with their new coach, Katie Uten-Bogard, on October 24th. They lost in their first round of sections against St. Cloud Tech, which gave them a final record of 7-16. Football has been nothing short of action-packed. After finishing the season undefeated, the Bulldogs football team earned a first-round bye in the playoffs. They played Little Falls on Saturday and won 56-14. The following week, they faced Princeton Tigers in the section finals. The Bulldogs won 28-7 and advanced to the state playoffs. The boys' cross-country season has wrapped up. They won the conference and section meets to qualify for state. At state, they ran well and placed 7th overall. Overall, the team had a great season and worked hard throughout the season. The girls' cross-country team has finished an amazing season. They took 4th in the conference meet, 2nd in the section meet, which advanced them to state. This weekend, they took 12th at the state meet out of 16 teams and beat the team from Zimmerman, who won the section race. The girls' swim and dive team finished their regular season 6-3. They also had a big 3rd place overall finish at the 2-team meet that was held at Becker on October 12th. The boys' soccer season didn't end how they wanted it to, yet they continue to stay positive and plan on having more passion for next year. A lot of seniors graduated this year, so they would like to see a lot of new players next year. Girls' soccer ended their season very quickly in sections. They lost their first game in sections against Monticello. October was a very productive month for the musical. They finished building the bulk of the sets and finished all the props, and so now it's just putting it all together. They are no longer looking at the scripts because they have it memorized. Tickets went on sale for the parents Friday the 1st, and public purchase will open Friday, November 8th. Tickets can also be bought at the door. They've also started practicing with the pit orchestra. The first deadline for yearbook is fast approaching. The staff have been hard at work making sure all pages are done and cohesive. For a little fun, their advisor, Ms. Koseski, put on a little Halloween party in her room where the staff were able to play games and just have a good time. GSA has been a great place for people to connect and share their in and out of school experiences with others and get help. NHS managed to raise over $4,000 for cancer research during the week of Tackle Cancer. They raised these funds by selling t-shirts, Kiss the Goat, and running concessions during the Tackle Cancer football game. Both NHS and Student Council had a blast at Craigan's leadership where they heard inspirational speakers and took home new fundraising ideas. I and my friend Alapani were also able to present at the conference. We presented Kiss the Goat, and a lot of people liked the idea and actually were saying how they're gonna start doing it at their school too. So it was cool to see. Student Council's haunted house last Tuesday went wonderfully. It was a great fundraiser and they had lots of student participation. They also sold Halloween candygrams. In DECA, they have been hard at work getting their wonderful program prepared for the whole year. On Monday, the 28th, they had their back to business meeting to truly prepare themselves for their future competitions. Now on to in the upcoming month. Volleyball has their banquet tonight, which will give the seniors a final goodbye to volleyball. Coach Bo has many plans to grow up the program and make Becker volleyball known in the next upcoming years. The first state tournament game for football is this Thursday against the Academy of Holy Angels. Swim and dive have sections on November 7th through the 9th that will be hosted in Becker. Girls soccer are having their end of the year banquet soon. The musical is only 2 weeks away, which is November 15th, 16th, and 17th. So get your tickets as soon as possible. Once the first deadline is complete, then Yearbook will start working on the winter pages and focusing on getting pictures of those winter sports and activities. For GSA, there are possible field trips that they may attend, including pride events to learn about people's experiences from different places and meeting new people as a whole. NHS is shifting gears and will start planning winter fundraisers and volunteer opportunities. They're also preparing for the blood drive on Thursday. Student Council will be talking about food drive ideas and getting ideas for snow days. DECA is currently preparing and awaiting for their DECA the Halls event for Christmas. And some other news / activities is me and Charlotte were able to attend the Student School Board Development event. It was super informative and it was an awesome opportunity to socialize with other student representatives from different schools and learn how their school board works. We plan on making a video to inform the school about student representatives as a whole, because usually when I ask people like, oh yeah, I'm a student representative, they're like, what is that? So we're gonna try to get that out there and explain kind of what it is.
How many schools were part of that training?
Oh, I don't know how many, but I would say 20, if not more.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
obviously getting more and more, but
yeah,
Were there more
This is-
than last year?
yeah, and this is their third time doing it, so it's like slowly building up. And yeah, it was really cool though. We did a bunch of different activities. We're learning about how some schools have 4 student representatives, some have 1. Some do all the schools, not just high school. They'll do like their middle school, intermediate school, stuff like that. So it's really interesting.
awesome.
Yeah. Does anybody have any other questions?
Where did Kiss the Goat?
This year was newest.
New teacher.
Mhm. Yeah.
Perfect.
Do you ever get pushback by staff? Like, they don't want to do it?
Yeah, some
Okay.
teachers kind
Okay.
of, we put on the no list because they don't want to do it, but I feel like most teachers are pretty open to it. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Moving on to item 2B, superintendent's report.
Sure. Congratulations to our Teacher of the Year award winners, the Leaders in Educational Excellence Award. We celebrated last Wednesday, October 30th with these people and their principals and building staff. Sarah Kellogg from the primary school, Carrie Burning from the intermediate, Melinda Pudlick from the middle school, and Arnold Changamere from the high school. Like I said, we had a comedian and a meal and got their awards last Wednesday. Then we also have upcoming on November 20th, the support staff and the Leadership and Educational Excellence Award. Those people and their nominators are listed. Jen Edling, who was nominated by Michelle Peacock, Glenn Kiawe, who was nominated by Dave Kreft and Rick Kraus, Barbie Engelhaupt, nominated by Mr. Boyer, Stephen Nobeling, nominated by Felicia Kiddock, Gloria Kidd, nominated by Chantel Boyer, and Brooke Whitney, nominated by Principal Christensen. So it's really good to celebrate those people and recognize them, especially this time of year. We've had a really hard year, the loss of like 3 staff members this year. So it's nice to be able to recognize some positivity and things in there. So, you know, with Dean Rose and Aaron Brown and Mr. Coleman, who recently passed away, being able to have some positivity in the year and stuff is really, really nice. So, we obviously miss those 3 as well. So Monday, November 11th, we'll be holding Veterans Day ceremony. It's a good opportunity, but to hear the history of Veterans Day, honor those. I just got the update today, so I didn't put it in here last week when I did this, but the high school and the middle school will be doing it in the PAC, and then the other buildings will be doing it in their buildings. Are you in the PAC as well because of the gym? Because of the gym renovations at the intermediate school. Then the MSBA Leadership Conference on January 16th and 17th. We have everyone registered unless you've notified that you aren't able to attend. If you'd like to attend the early bird sessions, let Angel or myself know that as well. Then I have the dates for the MSBA Pre-Delegate Assembly. I don't know if we've had anyone participate in that the last couple of years. I know Mark Swanson was he participated in a lot of those, but the Pre-Delegate Assembly is the resolutions that we submitted from our school board and then all the other school boards as well. And they kind of just talk about those and see which ones school boards like around the state. And then the delegate assembly votes on whether or not to approve those or not. So the delegate assembly, you can see the pre-delegate assembly dates, November 13, 14, 15, and 16. And those are all virtual. And then December 6th and 7th at the DoubleTree is the delegate assembly. So let me know if you want to attend that too. And then I also had on here the student school board representatives. Went with Carla Nolan with the training in Shakopee. I saw some pictures and a little video and stuff from that. So that was good. It did look like more people and more schools. And I noticed some new superintendents who hadn't been there before. So some new schools must have been involved in it as well. Any questions?
All right, thank you. Committee reports, Connie, I think you have a finance.
So, we had a finance report last week on Wednesday. And we went through the audited fund balance, which will be, I think we'll have the auditors here in December. And going through that, and then we also had our revised budget for this year, so. Just kind of discuss those numbers, so not a whole lot of discussion, so.
Pete, you have activities?
Yeah, had our first activity, council meeting of the year, not too much on the books, as of right now. We did discuss, possibly making yearbook something the students could letter in. Kind of in the outside, it's outside of the school day, we know, looking at seeing out what can be done. We had some questions for the advisors and things like that, but, we know it's not a, Minnesota State High School League activity, but we also know that, people are able to letter, without that being the case, so. Beginning discussions on that. Also, they're looking at, creating a new chapter of the Music Honor Society. Justin's looking into that, coming up with the metrics and qualifications and just kind of the beginning steps on, what we need to do to take that to the next level. So more on that to come here. I'm thinking here in the coming months.
Any other reports I missed? All right. Moving on to item 3, consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
I will second.
I did have one question on something on the consent agenda. Do we accept it and then talk about it?
Yep, we have a second motion, so go ahead.
I received an email earlier today about this. the
We all
hockey.
did.
Okay,
Yep.
all right.
I've talked with Francis.
I did as well.
Ryan talked with her twice tonight. So I think
Okay.
we're clear.
That's all I want to know. Thank you.
And we'll continue to communicate with the Blue Line Club and Big Lake as well.
Thank you.
All right, so we have a motion to accept consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
All right.
All opposed, motion carries. Brings us to item number 4, gifts.
I'll make a motion to accept.
Absolutely. I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion to accept the gifts. Do we have any questions or discussions?
Do we know how many wrestling mats we're purchasing? Is that just one?
I don't know. It's a good question.
I'm like. Becker Youth Wrestling is stepping up. It's a pretty impressive gift, as all of them are. That just number just jumped out at me.
Yep. So,
I think it's, they got 2 of them last year, I think it's 2 more. I think what Dave told me. So it replaces all of them that were.
practice room.
Great.
And one other thing that's not on here too, it's not a monetary gift, but just the Lions, local Lions, all of them got together to San Diego, Becker. Had done soup for all the buildings, and except for the transportation, they got like breakfast sandwiches, but they got together and they just finally finished it. Intermediate was the last building they did last year and this year. So not only did they give us money, they give us soup and lots of desserts.
Really?
Wow, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
So,
Kind of as a welcome back or just a.
They just rotated the building. I don't know whose idea was or where it came from, but they did one every kind of, I think it was like probably January last year. Maybe they started January, February, March, April, and then probably took off May and then finished up here in October with the intermediate school.
any other discussions or questions on that? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Bring us to item number 5, the policy review. I don't know, Jeremy, you want to speak to that?
Yep. These policies 610 and 612 are just up for review. 610 field trips, and they're both aligned with MSBA. And then 612.1 development of parent and family engagement policies for Title I programs, again, an MSBA policy. So that's why they're on review status. Just to get their years updated, essentially, and dates updated.
Motion to accept.
I would second.
We have a motion and a second to accept policy reviews in item number 5, policy 610 and 612. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed. Motion carries. Then we have first readings. Everyone want to speak to those?
Yeah, so the first reading, so no vote on these tonight, but 513 is an MSBA policy that includes acceleration, early admission, and retention in it. So we have currently our 550 is acceleration, our 556 is early admission, and we don't have a retention policy. So we would like to combine all of those into the MSBA 513 policy. Again, a first reading, because that is a pretty big change to pull those 2 policies and wrap in retention with it as well. So first reading for that one, but the MSBA 513 is the one that we would replace 550 and 556 with. And then 523 was a first reading last month as well, but I sent that off for legal review. And what the legal team did, our attorneys did, was they combined animals to school, the policy we wanted, and service animals into one policy. We currently have a service animal policy, but we didn't have the animals in school policy, which we've got some of the therapy dogs and things that actually I did quite a few times last couple of weeks. But we want to have a policy around that, so we have good process and procedure in place for that. But 523 service, or excuse me, animals in schools, it should say, not service animals, but animals in schools covers service animals and therapy animals and all that in there. But there were a lot of, as you can see in there, a lot of changes in red. So I brought it back for another first reading with the policy committee feedback as well.
So those are just first readings. So if you have any questions or input, contact Jeremy. Otherwise I'll come back for second readings at that time. So that brings us to item number 7. Before we close, I see we have a visitor, and I'm assuming, is it Dr. Petty? Okay, so, and you had emailed us requesting be put on the agenda, and I did not put you on the agenda. And I don't think you filled out the forms, obviously, right? So,
Yeah, I wasn't aware.
so, yeah. Yep, and that's generally, there's paperwork to fill out in the district office for that. So, but because, because you emailed the board and asked to be put on the agenda, I will let you speak. You get 3 minutes, no personal attacks. No, well, you can't identify personnel, but you also can't identify certain things that could be constituted as personnel. So, and of course, any matters that are currently under negotiations or litigations or related to personnel will not be discussed in public. No personal attacks are permitted. And you should use appropriate administrative channels for addressing operational matters and address such concerns to the board only if they go on solved. So you want to step up to the microphone?
I'm the timer.
You're the timer.
It's my time. All right, good evening. I'm Dr. Shannon Nessler Petty, and I have spoke with a couple of you, so thank you for your time that you've given to me over the phone or through emails. I really appreciate those of you that have taken that time. So all of you have heard from me at some point or another on our concerns that I have worked on in this last year over the girls' basketball program. I'm here tonight to continue to advocate on behalf of the multiple young female athletes and their stories about their experiences in the program. I'm a parent, educator, and athlete. I've taught K-12 and was professor at a university for 15 years. Actually, Corey Senior went to St. John's. That's where I was at. I have a doctorate in education. I've coached many young females from T-ball to high school, where I worked hard to create an environment where all girls felt safe, loved, seen, valued, and left my team more confident than when they started, because relationships matter that much to me. I've competed in sports my entire life, from high school to college and at a professional level, and I've had positive, life-changing coaches who not only worked hard to create positive relationships with all of their athletes, but also helped me personally develop into a confident young female. I now work for a company that focuses on building positive relationships in schools for all students, not just a few, but for all students. All students and athletes should be given the opportunity to feel safe, loved, confident, and valued, not just a select chosen few. And according to your mission at the Becker District level, we believe it is a responsibility of every school to provide a respectful, physically and emotionally safe and secure learning environment for everyone. This belief should also be emphasized for all athletes as well. I need you to listen to what I have to say without resorting to defensive measures and to what you think has been done. Ask yourself, do I actually know the whole story of why 2 girls left our district? Do I actually know the why behind so many girls quitting our program but still continuing to play AAU? When we open enrolled our daughter 2 years ago and went to the first parent-player meeting, the meeting was full of young female basketball players eager to start their high school basketball experience. We were excited to have our daughter be a part of this program that from the outside looked to be an environment that was thriving. What we have learned in the last 2 years have broken our hearts, and we have watched multiple girls walk away from the program. As an educator, I need to know the why, so I started asking questions almost a year ago. I'm angry at the stories that these young girls have to tell me about their experiences. There was not a parent-player meeting last year, and when we asked for a parent-player meeting before multiple girls quit the program, we were denied the opportunity to discuss our concerns as a parent group. Are there positive stories? Of course. And if you are one of the chosen ones by this program, your experience is probably drastically different than the stories in the letters we've submitted and the ones I've been listening to this year. If there's any weight given to those positive letters, there should be even more weight given to the letters that are concerning. The last 2 years, the number of girls wanting to play for Becker High School girls basketball has declined dramatically, and the letter submitted to you that continues to grow from current and former basketball players gives an insight as to why so many girls are choosing not to play basketball this year. We have the girls that want to play, but they will not play for this current program. Therefore, creating a mandated reporting system for all mental health concerns is needed, especially when our girls are crying out by telling their stories, even if they have not gone through the process of filing a formal complaint so that it's not missed. Please ask more questions. We all need to listen and not say this is not our problem. Do not assume it is being handled, because at this point, there are still voices out there who have felt like they have not been heard. Continue to ask questions. Mental health matters to everyone, and it should matter to you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any discussion or questions? All right, this meeting's adjourned.